Face front, true believers. Welcome to issue, 123 of the Pitch Nerds. This is the weekly show where a couple nerds assemble to bring you the latest nerdy news, reviews, and pitch things. And for Brimstone to lick his balls casually in the background, or what's left of them, I'm Cap, and with me today, as always, best friend, fellow nerd, and Kremlin supporter, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, hola.
What's up, everyone? I don't know about that statement, but you know.
Anyways.
All of a sudden, we're just going to get all these views.
Yes.
Like, wait a second.
The plan will have worked. My goodness, what do we have going on today? I and Mrs. Cap and a former coworker of ours, another Mr. Mike, are going to go see Dune Part 2. I'm happy to report that the internet says that it is not woke.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if people really know what woke means, or like, I mean, I don't know.
But,
it seems to
but
me
whatever it is, Dune Part 2 is not that.
I guess. I hate all that shit. You know?
I know. I just thought it was funny with I'm actually really hyped for this movie, and I'm glad that there's a lot of interest and appeal into it, because it's I don't really know much about the universe, but as I'm starting to look into it, it's a weird fucking universe. It's a weird universe. Like,
did you see the Futurama episode where they made fun of that?
Oh, where they shrink down into Nibbler's
yeah,
cat box.
Nibbler's litter box, and then like, they go in the chamber. And,
Right.
yeah, and then like it's all about like how life is circles, and they're like, no, that's too far. We kill them. I thought that was hilarious.
My goodness, we have who's battling? It's Arya Stark versus who?
Spock.
Oh God.
Hey, I like it though.
Yeah,
It's
this is
fantasy versus tech, you know,
yeah.
like
A faceless man versus Spock. Yeah.
and Spock aboard the Enterprise. Photon torpedo, just like face.
Like, was it yeah, just
Oh, and I wiped out the White Walkers. Like, look at that.
just sitting in his plush chair. He's just petting a tribble. My goodness, what all are we talking today? God, saw Oppenheimer.
We got Arya Stark versus Spock in Battle Nerds and Behold Nerds. We got Oppenheimer. We got some stuff which came out. I doubt you watched any of it, but I'll give some quick reviews. Main two being Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. Both those came out. Well, I think Avatar's been out for like a couple of weeks. Aquaman just dropped.
It just dropped. Mrs. Cap and I are going to watch that soon. It's on our list.
And then I found a couple. I mean, just since like I'm going, like, you know, we have this thing,
Yeah.
and I have nothing to do. I've been watching a lot of Netflix and stuff. So I found two more little gems I thought I'd share with the audience.
Okay.
And then nerdy news as always.
Yay. Shall we?
And then I've got some rants and stuff. Should we need them? Okay. Yeah. So let's jump into nerdy news. So this is I generally curate a list of 10 bits of things going on, and then we just discuss them. If you're watching, we encourage you to discuss it or leave comments on YouTube or wherever. I'll
Yell really loud and we'll hear it.
Yeah, tweet at me. Our Twitter is @nerdspitch, so you can also reach us there. Anyway, so first bit of news is this is a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt, because but Henry Cavill is rumored to show up in the MCU soon.
Yes, I heard
Which
about
hero
this.
do you think he will portray?
God, I think it'd be funny as hell if he is Sentry. I kind of
No. See, everybody says Sentry, but that's not the right choice.
I know, but I think it'd be great, especially having lost Steve Yeun.
Funnier than that is Hyperion. Because
Hyperion is the that's right. Hyperion is
I mean, he is, but Hyperion is
right.
like, he came from like a dying world.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
gets his power from the sun. Like he's part. It's called Squadron
Yeah,
Supreme.
he forms his own
But
like syndicate of like crime fighters. Yeah,
yeah, Squadron Supreme is just the Justice League.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
exactly
yeah,
like. I do actually kind of like Hyperion is an interesting character too because it's like there's multiple versions of him,
yeah. I
and
always get
also
Hyperion and Sentry confused every single
yeah,
time. Every single time I get them confused.
well,
It's
I
happening
think
right now.
Sentry is more popular, so I hear that a lot. People are
Mm.
like, "Oh, Sentry," and I'm like, "No, you guys, it's Hyperion." That, or I just because I would love to see the character brought to life,
Mm.
Gladiator.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, because he's still a Superman clone,
Yeah.
but Gladiator just is kind of more interesting. Like, not
Right.
more interesting than Superman,
No, but he's
but
more
more
interesting because it's how his head works. Like he's the best of the best of the best, so long as he's in the right headspace. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, no, I don't. But I don't mean he's more interesting than Superman as a
Mm.
character. I just mean I think he's more interesting than Sentry and Hyperion.
Well,
Um,
which one's who's the agoraphobic one? Again, I always confuse the two. There's the one that's afraid to go outside. I
Sentry is the one that he's really fucked up in the head,
Yeah, I think it's that one. Yeah.
and then like he like if he gets like goes too crazy, he becomes the Void, which is this like all powerful evil thing.
Okay.
And yeah, he was the one. It's more likely he'll play him if he was gonna play a Superman clone
Mm.
because that's the one more people know, and like a lot of people. It was a cool story, Siege,
Hmm.
where Norman Osborn has the Thunderbolts, and they go and they or the Dark Avenger, I can't remember which,
Mm.
but they siege Asgard, and Sentry's leading the way, and like when Sentry rips Ares in half, he's like, "How many gods am I gonna have to kill this day?" And then like Thor shows up, and then him and Sentry are like clashing in the sky,
Mm.
and then like I forget the what's his name, the Heimdall's
Heimdall.
there.
Mm.
It's like they're sieging Asgard,
Right.
and Heimdall's like Balder was leading them, and he's like, oh, he was talking about how Thor's technically exiled, but
Mm.
like he's still here defending Asgard anyway.
Mm.
And like Balder's, and he's like, what do you see with your eyes, Balder? He's like, I'm kind of distracted, and then you just see Sentry and Thor throw it down. I'm pretty sure Thor wins because I remember he's snapping his neck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like Sentry as a character because it was like he showed up out of nowhere, and then they were like, "Yeah, we just rewritten the universe so he's always there," and I hated it. Like it was so dumb. But like the reason people like him is from World War Hulk. Remember?
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
though it was Tony's satellite that really
They did it, yeah.
the
But
number.
yeah, he shows up, and then Hulk's like, "Why are you here, Fred?" And he's like, "I'm the only one that can hit you like." Fucking Fred flying. Yeah.
Right. I should reread
I
that.
maintain that Thor could have done it too, but he was dead at the time.
Yeah, his well, at what point didn't he already show back up at this point and smack
No.
Tony into the next?
No. That was long after. That was Civil War.
Okay.
That was post Civil.
Oh no,
War.
I'm thinking Civil War. I'm thinking Civil War. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. World War Hulk. No, so what it was is he Thor had like his final big story arc, and then he rests, and so it was gone essentially.
Right. Was it the Odin sleep?
No, not the Odin sleep. It was like he stopped the cycle of Ragnarok. He kind of no longer had a purpose, so he just rested, and so he went into the void. And then they start explaining that like, what's his name, Donald Blake, and him. Anytime they switch, they're not. It's not Donald Blake becoming Thor. It's Donald Blake goes into the void, and then out comes Thor, and then they reverse that. And so, like, they brought back that dynamic and stuff like that. It was a cool story. And then, like, Thor lost Mjolnir fighting his grandfather, so then he had to reforge it. But like, it was all forgotten when Aaron took over and started writing things like God Butcher and stuff like that. Anyway, but yeah, so Hyperion, you would be Hyperion. That would be a fun thing to do. Because he's totally Superman. It would just be hilarious.
Well, I mean, now that they have to recast Steve Yeun, I mean, my goodness gracious, Because when I think, well, I mean, it is back to Sentry. Because when I think Sentry, I think Steve Yeun. That is the first image that pops into my head, straight out of the
Sentry should be
comics.
played by the guy from oh god, the Norseman movie. I forget his name. That dude.
Oh yeah, okay. It needs the hair.
Yeah,
This needs the flowy hair.
yeah.
Anyways, what else? Sentry.
Okay,
my favorite.
so it was Superman Day the other day. I can't
Yes,
remember.
it was Superman's canonical birthday. Yes.
Yeah, and so James Gunn dropped the new Superman logo
Mm-hmm.
for the film, so you see it kind of up close, and then
With
there's
the
like snow
snow.
on it.
Right.
And then there was a lot of discussion about this. I seem to be the only person who was like, oh, it's the Kingdom Come logo, but in yellow and red. And then like I'm on Twitter, and it was like all these people, they were talking about it, they liked it,
Mm.
what they like, and then people were saying, oh yeah, no one will ever think this logo is popular, and everybody was talking about it, and I seem to be the only one going, yeah, that's just the Kingdom Come logo.
Right.
Like, someone's like, you can't even, to be fair, you can't even tell, it's too close up. I'm like, there you go.
What do you mean it's not? It's like 4 lines in a triangle, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Too close up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool logo. I have
Yep.
no problem with them going with it. The other thing is all the Snyder people were like going, well, it was impossible to beat Snyder. And then
With what?
I
So
don't know.
okay, so there's several different types of the S, right? There's the more like stylized, like the pronounced S. There's some where it's more of like a lightning bolt shaped
Yeah,
S. Like what version of the S do you like?
I know, but it's just I find it interesting that they were like, oh, this is impossible. And then I was watching some person who was like, yeah, but see, like a lot of people like the texture more of the James Gunn one.
Yeah.
And then I saw people saying like, yeah, but etched the design of the Snyder one etched into that is Kryptonian language and all this. And then like and then like what his name was, someone was like, well, yeah, but like why, and like it's also an Earth quote, like why would they have an Earth quote
In Krypton.
cryptographed into Kryptonian across his chest? And then someone else is like, oh look, you can kind of see it's got a big Nike swoosh right in the middle.
Right.
And then, like, I don't know, I think the Snyder one's awesome. I have no problem with it. I think that whole look was awesome.
Right.
I just think that this one's fine too.
Right.
I mean, I kept talking. It's not so much the logo. But my favorite suit
Mm-hmm.
is the Godfall suit.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that one looks dope. They would never go with that suit though, but
Right.
I don't know. So far, it looks cool. Everything I've heard about this movie sounds cool. Well, I'm gonna be optimistic.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I love James Gunn stuff. So Creature Commandos is going to be coming out this year, I believe, right? And that's going to be the kickoff to the Gunverse.
Well, I mean, he had to make it more complicated than that. Creature Commandos is going to be in it, but the technical starting point is Superman, which, by the way, they dropped the legacy. It's just called Superman.
Yeah. They dropped the leg. It's just Superman, which I'm down for. Just Superman. That's all it needs to be. Superman.
I know. It's not like you're going to be like, whoa, what movie is this?
Right.
Like,
It's like I really enjoyed The Batman. Like,
yeah.
it's a nice,
I've always thought, though, like when people call him Batman or the Batman is cooler.
Right. Oh, shit, it's the Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like, it just, I don't know. Anytime you add the in front of something, it instantly becomes cooler.
Right.
Like, like if people referred to me as the Frosty, I'd be like, oh, yeah. And then like, it's the Frosty.
It's the Frost. Mr. the Frosty. Okay.
Anyway, so, but yeah, I think it looks like a cool logo. What did you guys think? Maybe you disagree with me. That's cool too.
Yeah.
So I didn't know really much about this show, but I think I'm gonna have to give it a watch. There's a series called Shogun.
Yeah.
I believe it's on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
It's currently the best reviewed TV series within the past several months, with a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. People are digging the show.
Yeah. So this actually popped up on. It keeps popping up. I might check it out. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I mean, I have no reason not to. I'm currently watching another show called Louder Milk.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about that a bit later, but yeah, and then also thankfully, because I got really into that Resident Alien show. It's
Mm.
so good. It's there's I ran out of seasons on Netflix, but it turns out like 'cause we got Peacock,
Mm.
new episodes drop on Thursdays, so that's like a fun treat to look forward to every week.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that show. It's really good. It's a
I
good
love
amount
it.
of sci-fi comedy.
I love how streaming services now have like specific days of the week where they drop shows, so it feels almost like old
Well, they
school
have to with that
syndicated
one
TV.
because it airs on Peacock the day after it airs on TV.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, I'm wondering when TV. I guess some people use it still, but I'm just wondering when live TV is going to eventually die.
Yeah.
It'll just be streaming services.
I mean, we're seeing it. So live TV, local news. That's really what live TV should be anymore. Is just, and then everything else can be streamed.
Yeah, I mean, but it gets used in places like at the dialysis clinic I was at. Like everybody watched TV on TV there.
Right.
I was the only one that I was like, because people were like, "Oh, do you want the remote?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Why not?" And I'm like, "TV on TV is for old people, Like, and then I pull out my fucking laptop, flipping, doing Netflix, Like,
You're not wrong.
yeah. Anyway, so we were talking about Dune before. So
Yes.
Dune 2 opens with 178.5 million worldwide,
Wow.
over 50% more than the worldwide opening of the first film.
Wow.
So it's doing well.
It's doing well. That's. I'm so glad. We were talking off camera. I don't know a whole lot about the universe, so I'm sort of getting myself introduced to it. Interesting. I like how there's like you could set this universe like post Skynet
Yeah.
in a sense, where like, oh, the machines happened and now there's no more. Now we have like human machines because they breathe in this fucking spice and it makes their brains all fucking gnarly, and you have these people that can do like these telemetries in their head. That's cool. That's weird. It's cool.
It's cool lore. I think my favorite like lore dump universe, and I'm not that knowledgeable about it, but I mean, every time I sit and read some, I'm like, oh man, that's interesting. Is the Warhammer 40k verse. I'm really looking forward to the thing that Cavill's working on, because like that's a universe I want to get more of. But like I've tried reading the books because I figure like that's where you want to go.
Right.
I don't have anyone to play the game with, nor do I have the space, because you need space for that game.
Yeah.
So, and like, so like, that's out, but I'd love to read more about it. But the books are so just dense, you know what I mean? I struggle with them. Like, it's so much like, it's like reading the Bible,
Yeah.
like.
So I'm kind of in the, so as I'm writing Quantum, like right now, I'm drawing battle timelines, if you will. Like, all right, here's this almost like little screenshots of like battle formations, like little arrow. Okay, here's the map here. These went here, these went here. I'm chronicling, whatever, all of the different like formations and all the different movements on one of my little scribble sheets. It's fun, but it's just so beefy. I like beefy lore. Here's.
I know. It's just like Warhammer, though. Like trying to read the books, like it. I mean, it is like ultra dense Christianity, like Catholicism, because it all follows the humans, and they are fucking religious nuts, and like, and it's just like, so you have to know like all these factions and like things, and everything is very like nobody talks normally and stuff, and it's just so hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I struggle with it. I'm sure some people are like, it's the best books ever, but like,
right.
I think I think it just needs to just be dialed back a little bit, like to the point where like, okay, like take Star Wars, right? Star Wars isn't anywhere near as lore dense as but like, you had Luke Skywalker as the character to follow through, and he was the audience character. He didn't know anything either. Right. So shit was being explained to him so you could understand it. There's none of that in this. It's like It's like,
It
oh, the
just
Invictus of the 13th chapter of the blah 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 blah. I dare see the, and you're just like, oh my god, like. But reading the details of the universe
yeah.
is interesting.
Okay.
Like when you find out like how the ships work,
Yeah.
like what's the different, because it's like there's like I mean there's basically hell, heaven, and hell, and
Yeah.
like and then each group, like when you learn about them, is super interesting. All the different armies and stuff, like the Necrons, like
Yeah.
they're they're these like robots, and when they show up on your world, they don't talk, so it's just complete silence as this like robotic army unfolds and gets more and more massive.
So I have something like that in Quantum because that's what always bothered me about Star Wars, is that the droids in the prequels, they talked. They don't need to talk. Why are you talking? Y'all are robots. You're silent killer. Just communicate through bandwidth or some shit. Just yo, Star Wars, stop
Yeah.
it. So yeah, just and we kind of saw that with Terminator a little bit, where you saw the Terminators going through not saying anything, and they're just mercilessly killing everything. That's
No, I
scary.
know, but like the thing that's eerie about the Necrons
Mm.
is it's total silence.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and like yeah, because they move silently. They don't speak. They
Mm.
just like this massive silent army of death like comes towards you,
Oh.
and like yeah, it's interesting. Like each race is really like I mean like the orcs,
Mm.
they're actually a fungus and stuff, and then like and they have no upper size, and then like as the fungus grows, eventually like a little like gardening like goblin comes out, he starts, and then eventually they grow, and then like the bigger the orc, it eventually builds, like it becomes the leader, and then other orcs gather around it, and all of their stuff is built on belief,
Yeah,
because it shouldn't function, but like they
it
believe
does.
it does, so it
Right.
does. So and then the more of that happens, the bigger the orc chief gets,
Mm-hmm.
and there is no upper size limit to how big they can get. And
That's
or like there's the like they're people say that it's the only person, like if they were living in that universe, this is the only race they'd want to live with.
mm-hmm.
But there's like the technology advanced ones, and
Mm-hmm.
there's like long range specialists, and if they hit like one of the human tanks,
Mm-hmm.
the bolt is so fast through the tank it causes a vacuum,
Mm.
and everybody's ripped out of the hole on the other side.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So but that's what I mean. And then like you have the humans, and they're like these ultra religious crazy people with the space marines, and
Yeah,
like, but I mean they're right to be religious. Holy shit, fucking hell's right. That's how they travel through space, is they go to hell.
they travel through hell.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't Nightcrawler do that? He travels through some dimension to get to where he
Yeah,
needs to go.
basically. But their hell is scarier in my opinion. Like,
You said the
and
orcs. You said the orcs scream their way through hell.
yeah, the way it works is their ships, they look like fucking like cathedrals and like
Yeah.
buildings, because it's all built on prayer,
Mm.
and so that allows them to get through, because like their prayer is like keeping all the demons at bay.
Mm.
But the orcs, they use a different method. They just run through screen. It'd be like if like you were just like a bunch of bikers hanging out,
Right.
and this one big dude just went running through the room, and it was just like you just kind of like, what the hell is that? Like,
Okay.
but you don't really want to necessarily. It's like, don't fuck with crazy,
Right.
Like,
Uh,
they're interesting though. But yeah, the humans are the ones that it usually follows, and like I mean they're an interesting, like they all worship the emperor, but he might be dead. They're
Yeah.
all cultists basically.
See,
And I think it's
I like that. I have something similar, but not similar in things.
yeah,
So,
but it's Warhammer, so everything is turned up to 11. So like,
right.
I think something like 10 million people have to die every day for the emperor. So that's just like they just take people for sacrifices and stuff.
So how are they sacrificed? And just pushed down a pit or what?
I can't. I don't know. He's in. It looks like this big skeletal guy in gold armor in this massive throne, and supposedly their sacrifices are keeping his psychic energy alive, and he's supposedly the only thing holding like the human empire together.
Mm.
But then again, someone pointed out, like one of the creators, like, how do you know he's alive? He's just a skeleton in a chair, and it's like, oh yeah, like. So yeah, I don't. I mean, it's interesting. It's just like I said, I struggle with the books. They're just the way they're written. I mean, if
Yeah.
hey, look, if anybody knows of one that is more accessible,
Mm.
please recommend it. I'd love to read.
Well, so you know what's great with what we've been seeing, and I kind of like how certain franchises are being adapted this way. So let's take something like One Piece. Everybody and their mother has been bugging me to watch One Piece. I don't have the time to watch One Piece. Leave me alone with the fucking One Piece. But then fans came together and created a thing that best reflects everything they love about One Piece, and holy shit, it's fantastic. So
Hmm.
if we get that with Warhammer, like it just all right, all the diehard fans come together, make it, figure it out, plop out something that is consumable by people like the normies who don't have the time to watch the 1,300 episodes of One Piece. Just give us the condensed version. We're seeing that with Dune, which is great because again,
Well,
Dune,
the real question with Warhammer.
right?
So the big story in Warhammer 40K is the story of the Emperor and the various divisions of the Space Marines.
Mm,
So there's this huge storyline about like the Emperor's number two guy.
mm,
It's called like he like something like the betrayal of Horus.
mm,
And Horus is like he ends up like betraying the Emperor, and then there's a big battle between like a civil war in between them,
mm,
and that's like what eventually kills the Emperor. And so it's this massive story. I think it's told in like 13 parts,
mm,
and
yeah.
that's the story that the books follow. I'm pretty sure
Mm,
for the most part, but and anytime you start reading Warhammer lore, that's where it starts.
right.
But the game picks up where that story ends.
Mm,
So the question is like, um, yeah, is it going to be that story, or is it going to be this like other way? The other thing is Warhammer is tough for some people because it's also really depressing. It's not a happy universe. I mean, I forget what the quote is in the dark, bleak, distant, cold future.
there's only
There
war.
is there's only war, yeah, or
Right.
something like that. And like it's like, yeah, it's a hopeless universe. Like,
Right. You see, I want to capture. Yeah, you've inspired me, Frosty. This is the universe telling me to look up one of those lore dumps on Warhammer just so I can absorb it all. Because
40K specifically.
yeah,
There is
40K.
Warhammer.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like there was a game Warhammer, not 40K,
Right.
for the
What?
Xbox. I want to say.
I was going to say, I think it's Xbox.
But yeah, it was.
Like
Well,
OG
there's
Xbox.
several games, but the one I'm talking about is it was basically Left 4 Dead,
Mm-hmm.
but melee style. And so you picked your character from the Warhammer world,
Mm.
and then you're fighting. I guess there's like these like one of their big villains is like were rats, and so it's mostly fighting like hordes of were rats and stuff.
Mm.
And it's a fun game. It plays just like Left 4 Dead. So, I mean, you have like the different things, and you kind of play the same level again and again and again.
Yeah.
But it was great. I had so much fun. But like that, but in 40K would be awesome. Like
Mm.
I want to be walking around with my fucking chainsaw gun, like or chainsaw sword. I mean,
Yep.
but yeah. Also those bolters, boom, 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 boom.
Mm.
That's my favorite combo. Although, like I did play one recently. Not everybody liked it, but I played the shield guy, so my whole job was to stand up front and just boom. And I just held the shield, and like everything was just shooting the shit out of me. When I was like, yeah, I got this.
Mhm. Oh, you get to work in the shade.
And then I just like I think I had the sword, and I just like it was cool. There's been a couple of good 40K games, but anyway, where Dune, yeah. So the Dune universe is interesting too. Yes.
Well, indeed.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think that why I was comparing to Warhammer though is I think it's also a very lore dense universe.
yeah.
Like that first book, like everybody talks about it. It's like so it's really really slow at first, but then it gets so good. And you're like, how long do I have to stick with it? Long time, and you're just like,
just absorb it.
Yeah.
So I want quantum to be like that. Just shh, take the medicine, and then it'd be like, oh shit, okay. I want quantum to be that.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think it's better to like work with your audience in mind, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Mark Dodson has sadly passed away at the age of 64.
mm,
He voiced Mogwai in Gremlins and Salacious Crumb in Return of the Jedi.
he had that voice.
Yeah, I assume by Mogwai. I guess maybe it means all Mogwai or just his
No,
voice.
just yeah, yeah, because he does the little creature noises. That was his thing. Yeah, that's a shame.
It's sad though. I mean, 64 is young, and
Yeah.
like obviously he was a skilled voice actor, and
What
yeah,
what of?
I don't know.
Hmm.
But yeah, it sucks. Like we seem to be losing a lot of like kind of legends lately.
Yeah, taking the
So
wrong people. Universe taking the wrong people.
I sent it to you, but just before we went live. But the new poster for the Fallout series,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
both on Prime Video, comes out. What did you think of the poster?
It captures it's Fallout, New Cola. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's a blast. Fallout Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
me want to go back and play a Fallout game.
God, I wish Fallout 76 I'm sure it eventually got better. It was just
It got better. My gaming group wanted to play it. I mean, I had fun base building, and then it's kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. I should like Fallout more than I do.
Mm.
Fallout 4 was cool.
Fallout
I
4 was
liked it.
great.
I like the armor and all that kind of stuff, so that was cool.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, it looks cool. I'm excited for the series. I hope it's got that kind of tongue-in-cheek humor that Fallout has.
It does need to have the tongue-in-cheek humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope there's a whole episode dedicated to somebody trying to find a spring. Like, find a way to incorporate that. And
Yeah, and just kind of everybody in Fallout is kind of dumb and stuff.
there's a quirkiness to it. That it's
Yeah. Like, remember, like, if you put your intelligence all the way down, like, you couldn't speak, and then people would just, like, talk to you like you're an idiot. And, like, yeah, like,
I always wanted to spec all into luck, because apparently you're almost like a domino / squirrel girl type thing. You just can't die. What
was the Bethesda game that everybody was like, now I hate Bethesda because of?
Oh, I don't know. It was.
It
was a recent thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
no, wait,
I can't remember.
I thought it was Fallout 76 because of all the.
It might have been Fallout.
Yeah,
76.
it was definitely Fallout 76.
But like, it's just like, dude, it's still like they have mostly hits. I mean,
yeah,
relax, you know, like.
I mean, 76's problem was it needed like another year in the oven, I think, to get all the quirks out. It just. But anyways, it was still fun. When I had fun with it, I had fun with it. It was fun when we played it, because I think we played. I know with Lord Cheese and Nick, we used to play. It was fun until you go to complete a mission and it wouldn't finish, and it's like, what the hell? God, that drove me nuts. I thought I was doing something wrong. I was trying to figure that out for an hour, and I just said, fuck it.
I thought it was like okay, but it just, I don't know. The Fallout universe again is one that I should like more than I do. I guess it's a little slow for me, and I just walking around this bleak apocalypse. It's just less interesting to me than walking around this rich fantasy world of Skyrim.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's all it is. But I do like the idea of it, and I like the guns and all that kind of stuff.
I like the theming of it. I like the old timey deco.
What's it though was, oh god, what was that game? There's a game recently where it was very similar to Fallout, but it was more about like traveling through space and you had a ship and stuff like that. And that to me, I had more fun just because it was still sci-fi, but it was more of my kind of sci-fi.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. I do like Fallout though. Like I said, the one Fallout 4 I liked it because I liked walking around in my power armors and stuff like that. And then you could like get several suits and like
Mm-hmm.
tweak them differently.
Oh
And
yeah,
I thought it was fun.
that
And
was
then
great.
it started the base building, and that was fun
Mm-hmm.
too. And then just that first mission where you get the first power suit and you're like, "Brrrr." Yeah, it's fun.
So good.
But yeah, I'm excited for the show. I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
Amazon does pretty good. It's another thing I don't understand is people talk so much shit on Amazon. I'm like, I like
The
several
Boys
of their
is
shows.
so good.
Yeah, like The Boys, Invincible.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm pissed off that Invincible got that split. I'm gonna hopefully maybe it was just a writer's strike.
Right.
But, like, stop splitting these fucking series up.
It's a way to do less but make it feel like it's more, because usually back in the day animated seasons used to be a lot longer. It used to be like 20 something, and now they're like 10. Like 12 if you're lucky. So I mean, correction, because the new Young Justice was like 20 something episodes. It seemed like there was a lot.
But they used a lot of tricks to like save on animation.
Yeah.
Like that first like part of it, they were like, "Oh, we'll have them talk with their minds, and we never have to animate mouths."
Yeah.
And then they were like, and then throughout the series, they were doing those like like showing like the background between like of what's his name, the big villain, Vandal Savage. And like but it was done through stills as he talked over it.
Yeah.
But it was interesting and you didn't care.
Right.
Like you're just like, but it was when you think about it from a money saving and you're like, oh yeah, I see what they're doing.
I would say that like they worked really well with under their limitations. I think they exceeded with their limitations because
you see stuff like that in anime all the time.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Everybody talks about the Rock Lee Gaara fight from Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it with the sound off. Then it's a lot of cutting towards someone who's just staring, and it keeps happening, and then you're like, "What is this?" Like, and then it'll cut back to the fight for a few seconds, and then more staring.
Right.
But the reason it's interesting is because it cuts to a character and they're thinking about the fight and they're explaining it to you, and so you're like, "Oh, that is interesting."
Right.
And then like they'll be like sitting there, and then finally someone will start talking. But it is a lot of standing around discussing on what's happening off camera.
Right. That was a cool fight, though. That was a really cool fight.
No, I know. And then another thing anime does to save time, but people love it, is that whole like, here he is, and then he's there, and then like it's faster than you could see.
Right.
I'm like, that just means they didn't have to animate the frames between, like...
I never thought of that. Wow.
Or like in Dragon Ball Z when they're all like, da 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 da.
Yeah.
That's just like 4 shots just on repeat. It's called like a loop.
Yeah, right.
That's the loop. And they just play that. And then you can even like, because of the software, you can move the loop around. And then so like in the background, and it's all automated. Like,
right.
like,
wow. Mind blown right now. I never thought of that.
I took classes in animation back in college.
That's awesome.
Anyway. Where we're the Fallout poster looks dope.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Iman Vellani, I hope I'm saying her name right. The
Butcher.
What?
Butcher.
Probably. Well, how do I say her name?
I don't know. I just know it's Butcher.
She plays Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iman Vellani. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's been assured that she will return to the MCU. They give me breadcrumbs and I try and make a meal out of it. So yeah,
okay.
like she's kind of. You haven't seen
no, not yet.
Captain or the Marvels yet? Okay, well I'm gonna ruin like the after credits.
Yeah, she Nick Fury's it or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
She's like it. What's her name's coming home? Freaking Hawkeye.
Mm.
And then she's like sitting in the chair and she's like, "You thought you were the only kid superhero." And then she's like, "Well, I'm 23." And then she's like, "Oh, I'm starting a team." And then she's like, "Where'd you get my information?" She goes, "Under my couch." And that was because when Fury was there, he had this like
Mm.
thing with all the data across all the superheroes. And then but a big fight broke out, so it was just under her couch. So she
Oh.
finds it. Ooh. What is this funny? Where did you find? Under my couch. And then yeah, so then she's like, I'm starting a team and blah blah blah. Are you interested? She said, please, like, I really need, you're the first person. Like,
Mm.
like it's just done well. I dig it.
Mm.
So I guess they're setting up the Young Avengers, which, hey, why not?
Yeah.
And I like that they're both of those characters are kind of like nerds. I mean, she's like a Captain Marvel, and like the rest of the MCU nerd.
Mm.
Hawkeye is a Hawkeye nerd. I mean,
Right. He gets a bone.
hey, I loved Hawkeye. The whole thing was great, right from the Rogers musical all the way through. I mean, that fucking chase scene where it was the continuous
Yeah,
shot
the
within
shot.
car. And then, like, yeah, like, fire the arrow, and he fires the thing. It's like, I mean, it was great. Like, how could you not enjoy that?
Right. It was fun.
Anyway,
I enjoyed the Rogers musical. Called it here.
but yeah, like, what was I saying? Yeah, I mean, like, what do you think they're gonna do with their character? Do you think they're setting up the Young Avengers?
Yeah,
Or?
coming to Disney Plus next spring.
Okay.
Young Avengers. Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather do a movie, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if they do it like the Marvel Spotlight with what's her name? With Echo, like something like that, that would be cool too. I'd like to see it. Like, I don't know who. I mean, Ms. Marvel's got, like, at least she's got powers. So I think you need a powered along with an unpowered. Like, who else is a young hero in the MCU?
I don't know. What is it? Wanda's kids.
Well, they're not real though in this universe.
Yeah, but they can find a way.
Don't get lazy.
God, I don't want to say anything that'll bring offense to anybody. I have a funny one on how they can bring it in, but I'm not going to say it. I don't know. Those are the only children.
They do Franklin Richards, like, because we got a Fantastic Four.
Eventually, so I think what they're eventually going to do is they're going to try to do Battle World and reset the entire MCU after that. I think that's what eventually they're going to do, and that way they can just sort of soft reboot everything with or not soft.
I don't want to do that.
I think it's inevitable. I think it's.
But I think doing it as a legacy is far more interesting.
Yeah,
and that's
I
why,
know, I get it, but we don't have a bag of money.
Then you're not getting lazy, and then they can start doing their own thing. And, like, you know, and I mean, they're bringing in the X-Men. They did a big X-Men reveal with what's her name, Monica Rambeau. He gets trapped in the other universe and wakes up, and then like Beast is there, and he's like, "Oh, interesting," and stuff. And you're like, "It's Beast!" Like, it's so exciting,
right?
So yeah, I don't know. I think it would be cool. Anyway, see. Oh, Hayden Christensen.
Yes.
Says it was his idea to give Anakin Sith eyes, although George Lucas was initially against it. A few days later, he came back to me and said he thought about it and now liked the idea of Sith eyes.
Oh. Well, I mean, he kind of went Sith at the end, so it kind of made sense, did it not? I mean,
do they just get the eyes when you start going bad?
I guess. I mean, if you go back to the original, you know, when he had his helmet off, he had Sith eyes, even though he was a malformed burn victim, he still had Sith eyes. So yeah, I was okay with it.
Okay.
It made sense. No,
I completely forgot. Super Killer. Did we already bring this up? Maybe we did. I was like, oh, I got to ask Cap because you're the Star Wars expert. Because we disagree on this. Is the Force? So you have the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force. The way I understand it, he thinks that there's the dark balances the light.
Yeah.
My understanding is the dark is like a plague, and like the light would be like balanced without the dark. Which is it?
See, I don't know how to answer that anymore. So, to my understanding, the light can't exist without the dark.
Oh, it can't.
This is how I used to understand it. You're going to prove me wrong in 2 seconds, as you just do that. But the way I understood it was that the light and the dark balance. So if you look back to the prequels, Anakin showed up to bring balance to the Force because there's too many Jedi. I think there's a difference in power scaling. I think the Sith are more powerful, or something, because
yeah, I thought like because like,
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, you go back to the prequels and Obi-Wan's like, you were supposed to bring balance to the Force,
right? But in a way he did, because he brought it back down. He scaled it back down to where you have the master and apprentice, and now master, and then the coming apprentice. So he scaled it all back down to that. That's how I've always sort of interpreted it.
Okay. I mean, the reason I disagree with that is because I'm like 99% sure I remember reading Lucas talk about this. But see, again, Gus thinks that Lucas isn't like an authority to Star Wars.
Right. And so I mentioned this on the group chat where I have the Cap's method of introducing somebody to Star Wars for the first time. It's a wonderfully curated tour of one man's vision when constrained can make a wonderful product, but then when left to his own accord starts to do this, and then starts to do this again, and then
I don't know. They didn't even start mentioning balance until the prequels, though.
Right, exactly. So that's how
that's what I mean. So I'm taking it within the context of the prequels themselves.
Right. So how I always interpreted it was you have an abundance of good and not of bad, if you will. So Palpatine through Force powers has Anakin be birthed, and then kills all the Jedi, wipes out all the Jedi. That brings everything back down to a proper scale. We have the Master and Apprentice, That's how I've always interpreted it.
I understand that point of view. The reason I just think differently, I guess, is because, like, again. Excuse me.
You're threesies. I forgot you're threesies. I'm twosies. Yeah. You're threesies.
It's because, like I said, I'm pretty sure Lucas was talking about it. And that's why I'm like, okay, and it made sense to me, especially with Obi-Wan saying you were meant to bring balance to the Force.
Right.
And then
but okay.
Like,
but if
we're no, and then let me finish. And then Lucas saying that the dark side is actually like a plague on the light. And that's why to bring balance to the Force, you have to destroy it. Okay. It's not a question of dark and light being balanced.
Okay. Like so, I mean, but then, okay, that's fine. I accept that. But this is a guy who, I bet if I were to travel back in time, this is one of the things, once I get my time travel machine working, I'm going to go back in time. I'm going to find George Lucas somewhere in whatever fucking desert he's in. I'm going to approach him and be, "Sir, tell me all about midichlorians." And he's going to look at me all dumbfounded. What midichlorians? He had no idea. There's no midichlorians. He came up with that after the fact.
That's normal, though.
Right.
Think about quantum. You created something, and now you're like putting more detail into it.
I guess, but
writers do that all the time. And so for like him to be like, he made the original one,
right?
There was not even talk about balance,
right?
And then it comes to the sequels, and then like, oh yeah, like you're supposed to bring balance to the Force, and then the question is, what is balance?
Right.
And then he's like, well, and then people ask him, and he's like, this is what it is. I mean, I don't know. I just have no reason to argue with the guy.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't aware that he said that, so if that's the case.
No, I understand. But, see, Gus doesn't think Lucas, he agrees with you, Lucas isn't a good source.
He isn't, though. And that's the thing. Lucas, unchecked, doesn't know his own creation, if that makes any sense. And I get why, because a lot of people came in and started adding to that. and he doesn't care. And even in the old legends, there's inconsistencies that pop up.
Yeah.
I mean that just happens, but it's like when that interview with Jon Stewart, and he came up with the planet Stujon. Like, way to go there, Wayne Brady. Wow, you
But
just
I
won
guess
50 points.
My point is like, I would agree with that, but it did work within the context of the sequels
Yeah,
and what people were saying. So,
yeah.
but I don't
I
know. We can
mean,
move on
it's
from
fine.
that. I will let. I
But
will
then,
let Gus
even still, they've shoehorned so much into that, where there's other force wielders and shit like out there. It just,
Yeah.
it
No, I know, and you can ignore stuff like midichlorians. People hate midichlorians,
right,
but within the context of the sequels, I mean, the prequels, they exist.
right.
No, you know what I think? What like talking about the sequels,
Mm.
because the whole like, oh, I'm Ray Skywalker and everything like that. I think I
Palpatine,
mentioned this in the
Ray
group chat.
Palpatine.
Yeah, but that would be so much more interesting if she stayed a Palpatine.
Right,
Like because like she's like trying to like restore like her family name and stuff like that.
right.
I just think that would have been cool.
But see,
Uh,
Skywalker is a more marketable and recognizable name,
I
sir.
guess.
No, there's no. You guessed it. It's what's a kid going to say? Oh, there's a Palpa what or Skywalker.
Well, yeah, but
It,
you buy most of the stuff, and like they know that now.
yeah.
And like so if it said Palpatine on it, you're more likely like imagine if that came out and like it and like it rumored like, oh, Ray Palpatine, like you'd be like, what? Like yeah, you just I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. But that's my little idea for Star Wars. But I thought this just if you're looking for a fun like movie marathon night, anyone who's watching, it turns out that all 4 films in the MonsterVerse are streaming on Max again. So that's Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of Monsters, and Godzilla versus Kong. So if you're looking for like a fun like monster marathon, that could be a fun night.
Mrs. Cap loves those movies.
I like them. They're good.
I try to turn my brain off. There's one where it's just like, this is just the entire cast of the Avengers between doing Avengers movies. It was weird. Because I just saw them in the Avengers. And then
I didn't think about that. Like, look, Godzilla was it was good. It was not enough Godzilla, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because when Godzilla did show up, it was badass.
Right.
And then Kong Skull Island was just a really good film. It had more monsters and stuff like that. And because it was like a smaller group of people, you kind of do it more. Like I like the part where the guy's like, "Yeah, come and get me," and you're thinking he's gonna do the thing, and then the monster just tail whips him, and he blows up along a mountainside. And it was cool. It was a fun movie. And then Godzilla King of Monsters. This is where it starts getting good. Now we got fucking Monster Zero and Rodan and all this shit. And like now this is what I wanted, And then Godzilla versus Kong. This is the one where it's kind of like
stupid.
I'm not sure you topped what was there before, but they're like lore dumping and stuff. And,
right.
I mean, it is kind of cool to see Kong jump with a giant axe made out of a Godzilla's spine against Godzilla.
Yeah.
So,
sitting in a throne of like fucking Godzillas and shit.
Yeah, but Godzilla still won that shit. Like it was like Kong even like kind of like bowed. But then they did the classic thing that you got to do with one of these.
You got to team up to go beat up Gojira. Yeah. Fucking
no,
Ghidorah.
Like,
did we get Ghidorah yet? Because I like Ghidorah. King Ghidorah is my favorite.
Yeah, Monster Zero. Yeah,
yeah.
The three-headed dragon. One, yeah, he was. That was in Godzilla King of Monsters.
I had that as a kid, the toy, and it was like just one of those big old like static plastic toys. God, it was so fucking cool. It was just cool.
I had a Godzilla that like it could articulate, and it was like about like this big.
Nice.
And but I bought mine a little modified. He didn't have the back spines. I just wanted him smooth. And like and he was the god deity of my like world.
Nice. That's awesome.
Or he was something that like my Transformers would have to fight because they
Mhm.
were about the same size. But in my head, I stripped away all the Transformer lore,
Mhm.
and there was a guy inside like piloting it, trying to fight Godzilla.
So
Um,
I told you in my universe, the Autobots and Decepticons were friends.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's it. They were friends. Just yeah, they were friends. Somehow they
Yeah.
were friends. Oh, speaking of which, how's your pitch coming along?
Yeah, it's coming. We could probably do it next week if you want.
Okay.
I mean,
Oh,
um, but yeah. So just in case you're wondering, we're talking about our upcoming pitches are going to be our original superhero universe.
yes. So
Uh,
so can you is this going to be your Vincent Storm universe or is
no,
this
no,
going to
no,
be
no.
no?
Like I said, I'm not going to do that because I've already talked about him.
Right.
So, but I did pull from that list of characters that I read that time before.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the uh, God, I'm blanking on his name. Warrior. He's my kind of central character to my mythos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I used to call him Master, but like because he had an M on his chest.
Mm.
Like, but yeah, it's hard to explain. I'll get into it later. But
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to do it next week or do you need more time?
No, you can do it. I've decided to just tell the tale of like the heroes of the room that fought off against the encroaching robot army from the
All
other
right.
dimension. Like it's funny. So I didn't realize this until hindsight is 2020. The the premise, I guess, in my universe is essentially Futurama meets Half-Life in a
Okay.
way. It's sort of that in a weird way, where here's this little time delivery service. It's just transporting this hamster around the room, and it's like, well, what's a more efficient way to do this? I don't know. Let's develop portal travel and see what happens. And upon doing this, it rips into like a other dimension that brings in all these robot hordes, and all of a sudden they just don't stop coming. It's yeah, it's
Sounds
Futurama
cool.
meets Half Life.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah, shit. Why not?
Anyway, so tune in next week for that. Yeah, so the MonsterVerse out. So yeah, I thought that sounded like a fun thing to do.
Hmm.
If you're looking for a movie marathon night, you'd be watching for some time. Those are some longer films.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's just make a weekend out of that.
you could do that. I mean, I know, but there's something cool about just getting up in the morning and be like, okay, we're watching all 4 movies,
Right.
and like
Get up right at 6 a.m. Coffee's hot.
and then you have your snacks and stuff, and you have them staggered throughout the day,
Right.
and like that's just what you're doing,
Right.
like you want someone with you when you do it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, and then finally, Rochelle Davis. She played. Oh God, how am I blanking? The little girl in The Crow, the original Crow.
Okay. Yeah.
She says she doesn't like Bill Skarsgård's look in The Crow, saying it's dingy, dirty, grungy, and makes him look like the villains he should be fighting.
No.
She adds that they should have cast someone who resembles Brandon Lee out of respect.
No, I think they should move away from that.
Okay, well, have you seen Bill Skarsgård's?
I have not. I'll look it up right now. While I'm looking it up, what do you think of it? You are the Crow fan.
It's a bit like
Ooh.
when
Ooh.
they made the new Joker with
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, with Joaquin Phoenix.
yeah, no, not Walking Phoenix. The one from Suicide Squad.
Oh, Jared Leto.
Jared Leto. Comparing the original Joker, or like what you think of as the Joker, to Jared Leto's Joker.
Mm.
That's sort of what this feels like with Brandon Lee versus Bill Skarsgård.
So,
oh,
yeah, I see it. Yeah.
But I want to be
Oh,
optimistic.
he's ripped in the. Oh my god.
Yeah, I want to be optimistic about this film. I don't care that he looks dingy, dirty, grungy. I don't care that they're going because I don't
Isn't
think
he
you
supposed to
should.
be kind of grungy though? He's dead.
Well, I mean, but Brandon Lee didn't look like that. I mean, um, that was kind of like he. What she's saying is he looks like the people Brandon was killing
Yeah. No,
more than Brandon.
I get it. I see what they mean.
Yeah, but I don't want to hate on this yet, and a lot of people are.
Mm.
It's more Crow, and I mean, I'm okay with that. Like, just I'm going to be optimistic if they can pull it off. I don't think they will. I don't think it's going to surpass the original. It's an unbeatable film. So I mean, but sometimes you can get something, and we'll talk about that later. I just watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, where you can enjoy it for what it is, but know that it's not quite as good as what you got before. Like
Right.
it's okay for that to happen.
Right.
And I'm hoping that that's what we get. I don't want to hate on it. I just don't.
Right.
I hate being one of those people that sits around being like, this is gonna suck. Yeah, have you seen it yet?
Yeah.
Like,
I briefly jumped on the bandwagon. This is years ago with my goodness, Joker, Nolan Joker, help me.
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, Heath Ledger. I was skeptical with Heath Ledger Joker. I was happily disappointed that to be wrong with Heath Ledger Joker. That's fine. Just give actors room to act.
I'm trying to explain this to people, and some people because they love Heath Ledger's Joker, they just totally disagree with me. But I'm like, you don't understand. Mark Hamill is Joker,
right?
Heath Ledger is Heath Ledger's Joker,
right? That's a good way to put it. There's Mark Hamill is the Joker, then. Yeah. There's Heath Ledger's Joker. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good.
That checks it out.
I know it was amazing. It's still just not Joker,
right. It's Heath Ledger's Joker.
I can't help it. If I'm reading the comic book and I can hear Mark Hamill in my head, then that's the guy,
Right.
Right. Batman is Kevin Conroy.
Forever.
Got to write that one down real fast.
What? Having a moment? Have an idea? You want to capture that? You want to bottle that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's going to be gone if I don't.
Right.
Anyway, you got any news for us?
No. Just the Superman thing. Just stoked for that. Gonna go see Dune. I will give my full report on Dune Part 2 next week.
You gotta do it spoiler free because unfortunately it's gonna be a while.
I will hopefully happily reassure y'all if it is woke or not.
It's
so funny. I know it's funny. It's funny. It's funny to me. It's funny. Frosty, I hope you realize that it is funny to me.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. Because there are moments where I think, God, he believes it. No, I don't.
No, it's not that. I am so done with it. Like I just wish it didn't exist. If I could blot one thing out of existence, it would probably be that. And people who no, I can't say the next thing. It's about a certain fandom. It's like just take it down a notch, guys. It's okay. I'm not gonna say who. I'll let people figure it out for themselves.
Clearly, Star Wars.
Although, to them a little bit too. I guess all fandoms to an extent just take it down a notch, but one in particular. Anyway. Okay, so I really want to jump into rants, but we'll go ahead and move to. Do you want to do Battle Nerds?
Let's do Battle Nerds. We've been talking a while. Let's do some Battle Nerds. I did it last time. You open it.
Okay. So Battle Nerds is a game we came up with. We took 100 iconic characters, put them on a list. Every week we random roll to see which we get, so we can have very lopsided battles like Lassie versus Godzilla, which never happened, by the way, sadly. But anyway, so we random roll characters.
We got Godzilla versus Airbud, and Airbud should have won that fucking battle. Y'all's wrong.
We did, but anyway, so last week we rolled Han Solo versus Zorro. One rule is we can pick whichever version. You chose to go with anti-Hopkins Zorro.
Yeah.
And I went with classic Han Solo from
Han Solo.
Yeah. So you can watch our last episode for that fight. It was a lot of fun.
That was a fun fight.
Yeah, but the winner was Han Solo. So, yeah. Well, I mean, if we go with my original idea, Millennium Falcon just, and then he just lines up the shot slowly because, like, Zora's like, adios mio. He doesn't know what's happening. And then just, and then Han Solo goes back into the pilot chair and then,
a Ryan Johnson film.
Anyway, so after the fight, we rolled up again randomly. Kev got Arya Stark,
first time fighter.
First time fighter. She's one of the rare few that haven't fought yet.
Yeah.
And I got second place champion Spock. Who has been in first for quite some time until Rogue dethroned him. With I believe 5 wins. Yeah, Rogue has 5 wins, and then in second place is Spock with 4. Third place is the Terminator T-800 series model 101. And then also in third place, which I just love because he's holding on, is Captain America. Like, he's like the tired one. Yeah, exactly. I'm rooting for him, man. That's the one I want to go to.
Oh man, we haven't.
Do you have anyone that you're rooting on?
So honestly, originally, everybody that I wanted to be on this list are no longer on this list. But you know what? I think Darth Vader hasn't fought yet, and I think he is.
Yeah, not.
I think he is like somebody to worry about at some point in the future, because I can see him being able to take out some of the people who are still standing.
Yes, but I don't care about power. I want to see fucking Captain America go up against Peter and come out on top, I want to see him all like beat to shit, but like somehow he wins,
Right.
Like the other one I'm also kind of rooting for is our first place winner because she's a surprise. She keeps winning though.
Yeah.
Is Rogue. I mean, Rogue is like she's just beating the shit up.
You know who I am rooting for Spock. If you want my real answer, I'm rooting for Spock because I think what's fun about rolling Spock is that it allows you to think as Spock, and it sort of breaks you into that Star Trek universe where, okay, well, here's the problem. Let's sit and discuss. Okay, well, here's the problem. Well, what do we have that we can, effectively neutralize this? Well, we
got into a loop with Hulk versus Spock, dude.
Right.
We heard like you were like, oh, I fired this thing at you, and then I'm like, oh yeah, and it looks like I'm dead, but then clap, and I already destroy the universe. And so then you're like, well, Spock would dip out and go before this happened. And then they'd be like, all right, well, round 2, bitch.
Just Spock is just of all the characters on the list, I'm having the most fun representing Spock because it's like,
well, you got Arya today, my friend. So.
I know. So God, how does Arya Stark? So I'm gonna go. I haven't read the books, but I feel like she's had her through line in the TV.
You're going with a TV show.
So we're going with a TV show where she has essentially become a faceless man. We kind of get a glimpse of what she's capable of, where she's sort of like I don't want to call her a mastered assassin, but she's definitely earned the respects of the right people to become a pretty formidable assassin with multiple sneaky covert kills under her belt. God, she made that one dude eat his own fucking kids at one point to as revenge for the Red Wedding. So She can disguise herself. Say she has access to various poisons. She's skilled hand to hand. Also, long range with a bow. She's essentially a little ninja girl who can sort of cleverly just infiltrate in and set poison something with that Spock is going to eat, or sabotage something that will just get the better hand of him. I don't think he'd be able to see her coming.
Okay, well, I mean, I won't just aerial bombard the planet. I mean, let's assume he's like down there.
Okay.
No.
So what would be cool is that he orbital bombs the planet, but Arya's already on the fucking ship, because that's what she would fucking do.
How?
Because she's Arya. She'll ask a favor of.
She can't get to space. No,
she'll fly a dragon.
They don't go in space.
Oh, she'll hold her breath. Anyways,
no, you can't give her power she doesn't have. And I'm bringing my guy. I'm not just Oreo bombardment. I'm saying I'm down there on like a fucking away team.
All right.
And then they're like walking around, Spock's like, oh, fascinating.
Mm.
And then Arya's like off on one of her missions. He's like, oh, it appears to this person it doesn't has someone else's face, and then any ideas, Doctor? And he'd be like, damn it, Spock, I'm not a face guy. I'm a doctor. And you're like, indeed, and then so they go and follow her a little bit. She realizes that she's getting tracked, and then she tries to double down and flip it around. She holds the blade to his neck, and then she's like, what do you want, and all this kind of stuff. And then he just but she hits the ground. And then he's like, Spock, what did you? He's like, oh, I could sense through my mind that she was gonna stab the shit out of me, so I just made sure she didn't. And then she kind of groggily comes to, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna, and then he goes, pew! And then she goes back to sleep. I mean, it's basically over at this point. I don't see him killing her, but
he wouldn't kill her. It's just, it reminds me of a little bit
it reminds me of Wolverine tried to fight Spock, and the same fucking thing happened. Okay, if Wolverine gets taken down by this, there's no way Arya is gonna win.
So it reminds me of a Foghorn
Leghorn. Ranged guy. I mean, a melee guy. I'm just gonna puke.
I mean, presuming she could poison him at some point, like follow him, get a beat on him.
He's on an away mission. He's gonna be like, pew, 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 pew. Oh, there appears to be poison in this. I'm not gonna eat this shit. And then, even assuming she shoots him in the neck with a dart, he'd be like, interesting. Pew, 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 pew.
Oh man. So,
or it might not even work on him. He's half Vulcan. I mean, I think she does try and fight him, and he's stronger than a person,
Yeah. Oh man, this is fun. Okay, so she befriends a dragon.
Does she know any dragons? I don't think she does.
She befriends a dragon. You know what? Okay. Ha ha ha.
This is off topic, but you remember that animation of Game of Thrones wishes come true?
Mm-hmm.
And it was this really crudely drawn animation. It was so funny. It was then Brienne shows up, and then Jaime Lannister, but he's good now, and blah blah blah, and then all of them together, and then they go rah, and then the fucking what's her name busts through with a dragon. She's like, I have come for you, Sir Halfman of. And then another dragon appears. Here's one for you too, Jon Snow.
What was the name of Arya's direwolf?
Oh, Lady, I think.
Lady?
No, it was Lady.
No, Lady was Sansa's.
Yeah, I can't remember. That one's actually survived though. And it leads a pack of red wolves, I think.
Yeah. What was Arya's name though? Forget Arya's
I
name.
don't remember, but it is in the book. I mean, they actually talk about like people see that wolf, that dire wolf in the forest.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, God,
All right,
this.
well, so yeah, so you think like, so come on, like keep the.
Oh yeah, no,
What
no,
else
no,
you
no, no.
got?
So I got this. So okay, Spock is Spock, but you know what? Her, Arya's brother is fucking the clairvoyant shit with that fucking warg power. So he can fucking warg into her brain to combat fucking Spock, right? Because Spock has got his fucking. All right, well, fucking here comes Bran to save the day, right? So once Bran's in control, it's like.
He's gonna be a worse fighter now. like, like,
but with superpowers. I don't know. This is no. This honestly, it reminds me of almost like Foghorn Leghorn with the chicken hawk, where it's like, let me at him, just trying to fight him, and Foghorn's just like.
I always, to me, it comes back to the Wolverine fight in the comics. When Wolverine tried to fight him, he just pinched his neck, and then Wolverine goes down.
Right.
And then I think he tried to fight him again, and he shot him with the fucking phaser. And that was it. Like there was like, it was the X-Men and the Star Trek
crossover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's roll for the next week.
Okay. Well, we'll put out a poll.
All right, we'll put out a poll.
And we'll also put a poll on Facebook. You can also just message us who you thought won the debate. So follow us in all those places. And then we can roll for next week.
Yes. What are we rolling for? 22?
22 or under, yeah.
A 10.
Okay, I also got one right off the bat. 10. You're not gonna be happy because we just had them fight. Let's just reroll. I know it's gonna happen more, but it's Pikachu versus Han Solo. I got Han Solo again.
Here.
So let's just reroll since we just had them fight.
All right. A 6.
Hang on. 6. Oh, well, no, he's fighting. Sorry.
Oh.
It's Spock.
All right. Damn it.
I know it's annoying because like we don't have
there
any
we go.
21.
A 16.
Okay. Okay, so this is returning well, most of them are returning champs, but Battle Cat, and he will be taking on, come on, dice. Eventually.
Believe in you.
There we go.
Yes.
Versus returning champ Thanos.
Yay!
So I've got Thanos and you've got Battle Cat.
Yes.
To keep it balanced, I obviously won't pull out the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, you would argue that it wouldn't work in that universe anyway.
He would have to seek out the stones in that universe first in order to.
Yeah, but anyway, so I'm going with comic book Thanos.
He just beats up the He-Man pantheon to obtain the Infinity Gems of that universe. That'd be funny.
He'd go after the Power Sword, man. And then the staff of Grayskull, and then that fucking third thing, the staff of or no, the staff of Chaos, and then the thing, and then he's all three, and then he combines that with a champion, and then he becomes
Can we just stop and appreciate how good the second season of Masters of the Universe was?
It was great.
It was
I
so
really
good.
liked the first season too. But
the first season was the first season problems. They split it in half. That gave the internet all the time in the world to complain about it being woke. It's so woke. It's so woke. But
there were so many cool parts to that though, like when Skeleton God and then Adam's like, I wondered what would happen if I called on the power without the sword. And then he becomes like that barbarian.
Yeah.
Man, that was so cool. And then,
didn't he have the axe with that?
No, he was just punching the shit out of it. And Skeleton God was holding his own, but like that it was just cool. I mean, I love the fights in these shows. Like, in season 2, Hordak versus the Tech Skeletor, and all that. Thought that was cool
Skeletech.
too. Yeah, Skeletech, that was it.
That's a cool name. That's a stupidly cool name. That was a name.
No, whoever wrote that was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they probably got some dick above them. They got all the credit for it.
Of course.
Like, oh yeah, my guy Jim, like. Anyway, let's see. Let's do some reviews real fast.
Yeah.
So Avatar: Last Airbender came out on Netflix. You have yet to see it, right?
I haven't seen it yet, so I forgot that it had come out. I've been writing a whole bunch of quantum stuff lately. That's where my brain has been. But when I went to go get donuts yesterday, they had it on at the donut place. After what I have seen, rest assured, everybody, it does not look woke.
So. I wouldn't watch a little bit of it. Like, give it what it should and sit down and watch it, because it. Okay, like, here's the thing. I've watched the entire show, the cartoon,
right,
and I really enjoyed it. It's an excellent cartoon. I recommend. I mean, I'm not gonna force anyone to do this because I realize I'm one of those guys. But I'd be like, you should actually watch the cartoon first, so you fully appreciate the universe before experiencing this one. I believe that wholeheartedly because the cartoon is that good.
Okay.
So that was when I first started watching it, I was like, it's not really adding anything that I didn't get from the cartoon.
Okay.
But as it went along, I started to enjoy it more and more. And
did it tell the story? Does it tell the story?
Yeah, so Avatar is split into 4 books. Book 1 is water. This is book 1. But there's so many good episodes that aren't. You can only fit so much in. There's so many good episodes of the cartoon that matter, and they just can't put them in because the cartoon's longer,
Right.
And but it's still good. They took the better stories, the ones that I kind of knew were coming, and they gave them the due. When it felt a little bit when it first started, because I was like, okay, I know how the show starts, you know what I mean? Like, and they're trying to explain everything, and I was kind of, yeah. I get it.
Right.
And then once I got past that, though, I started this, like, we were talking about it on our group chat the other day. One of our friends said that he didn't think there's a point in remaking stuff that's already good. And I counter that saying, like, but it sometimes works out, like Italian Job. Then they made which was a fantastic, almost unbeatable movie. Then you got the Italian Job. It was great. Then Magnificent Seven, almost unbeatable Western. Magnificent Seven, great. And then you have things where they like do differently, like Wolf and Cub, Mandalorian. You know what I mean? Like, I think remakes get a bad rap, but it's bad remakes.
Right.
And it jumps mediums. They do a good job of. There's one character that's very different, but it made sense for going live action. So, I enjoyed it, especially by the end. I was like, yeah, I'm down to this. Like, yeah, like let's get more of these. So 100%. Yeah. Shut up and take my money. I want more. I'm loving it.
Cool.
I watched it very quickly. I mean, I don't have a lot going on, so I just kind of sit and watch TV. But yeah, so shut up and take my money. Highly recommend you checking it out. Next on review, Aquaman 2 came out. Or Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. Okay, so not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination. Oh my god, I had so much fun watching this movie.
Okay.
Like I had so much fun. And like I really think you should watch it because it is Star Wars and Buck Rogers, but underwater.
Nice.
That's what it is.
Okay.
No joke. They go to this fucking criminals like hangout, and it's all these races of fish people, and there's like fish people up on stage singing, and then like Jabba the Hutt fish is like sat there, and then like, and then like what's his name, Manta, Black Manta or whatever. that he like unlocks this ancient technology, but because it's all like ancient,
Mm,
the the styling they went with was very Buck Rogers.
mm.
So they're like piloting this like old school submarine, and they're all wearing these like stupid little like full body things, and like the lasers look like what you would think of like 70s like things.
See, I love that. I love that style. It's great.
Yeah. So it's a combination of like Star Wars and Buck Rogers, but just underwater.
That's cool.
Um, and then like they go into the desert at one point and they're like fighting these things. And even like before, Aquaman kind of annoyed me, but he kind of knocks it out of the park. It's mostly him hanging out with his brother,
Mm,
and he's just cracking jokes the whole time. He's like, "Hey, after this, we should go get a want to get some pizza and some beers."
mm.
And like and he's like, "Oh, I don't eat like surface food." He's like, "You're kidding me," just like their banter back and forth. It's fun.
That's
It's
funny.
a fun movie.
Mm,
It sucks that it didn't do better.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, because
because,
people had no invested reason to go see it, if that makes sense. Like they
well,
didn't.
the universe is over, so because people can't enjoy movies for just watching a movie,
Right.
they're like, "Well, the universe is over. There's no point in watching it."
Right.
And then the other thing was, like it had what's her name in it, and people were pissed off
Amber
about
Heard.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of those arguments to me are fucking dumb because A, she's one person and she's not even that much in the movie.
Mm,
I'm guessing they did that on purpose once all that shit happened.
yeah.
But I didn't have a problem with her character or her portrayal. I mean, who she is as a person is a separate thing.
Right.
And then the what do you call it? And also movies are more than one person. So, like
Right.
don't be like, oh, I one person. Look at all the people that make movies.
Yeah.
Um anyway, sorry.
Nope. You good?
But the other thing is, yeah, like you said, the universe is ending. So what? And like, we didn't used to watch movies expecting like this to like be part of some giant thing.
Right.
Like we just watched them. Like, and it's fine if a movie's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, out on HBO Max, check it out.
Do you think
I think
that's
if I,
kind of going to the wayside? Just going to go see movies to see movies, unless it's tied to some greater thing.
I think that's definitely what's kind of happening.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Like
you don't
unless
do one-offs very often.
right. It's almost like a outcome of just I don't know. It's just being overexposure to the same shit over and over and over again. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, but it's the business model that costs so much that
Yeah.
if you're going to invest, you also have to have a long-term investment plan.
Right.
And so that's where you go like, okay, and then you have to like it's so much harder now. Like you have to like lock actors into contracts with you in case you start making sequels.
Mm.
But if the movie bombs, then he can like get out of it. And then there's all that bullshit that goes on with them claiming all movies are failures.
Just for tax
So
write-offs.
yeah, for tax and all that. Anyway, but but Aquaman 2 honestly should have taken my money. I had a great time. Also, I've been watching this on Apple. I found out that my sister's boyfriend has Apple, so I'm like, well, check out what's on that.
Mm.
Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, which is about Monarch,
Yeah.
from the
From
Monsterverse.
mhm.
Yeah, good show, good
Okay.
show.
Nice.
It doesn't have a ton of monsters, but it's more like the people and the mystery around the monsters. And then when you do see the monsters, it's like, oh, that's fucking cool.
Nice.
And like, and people die in it and stuff like that. And like, like, I mean, brief spoiler. There's one part where like he's like trying to pull up his wife,
Mhm.
and like all these like giant bugs are like ripping her to shreds, and he's like, no, and like, and then like, but she's still a main character because takes place at different times all at the same one time.
Okay.
So
One of
like
those.
there's like right now and like this girl, she was involved with Godzilla like and stuff, and she's in Japan, and Japan has all these anti-Godzilla things, and like
Mhm.
they do alarms, and so to run for shelter and stuff. So it expands the universe. It's an interesting universe in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So also shut up and take my money. And then also Louder Milk.
Mhm.
Good show on Netflix. A little gem I found. It's about a guy who he is a drug counselor, a
Mhm.
former alcoholic himself.
Mhm.
And he just does this group. But the thing is, like, because he has to like deal with people lying to him, bullshitting all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's like brutally honest, and he cuts through everybody's bullshit. But that bleeds into like the real world, so like he doesn't take shit from like as soon as someone says anything remotely stupid around him, he just has to just call them on their shit. Like the bit that they did as a promotion I once saw for the show, I didn't know that was this show,
Mm-hmm.
but he's like ordering coffee, and she's like, "Okay, so it's like a large," and he's like, "Yeah, it's like a large," and she's like, "Why are you talking like that?" He's like, "Why are you talking like that?" And then like she's like, "This is my voice." He's like, "No, it's not. It's an affiliation that you're supposed to put on because you're trying to be either like, like lazy or this or something." And then like, and it's so funny. He just like calls her on her shit. And then this girl behind him is like, "What's the holdup?" He's like, "Oh, Jesus fucking Christ." And, like,
Oh my god!
and then like he's leaving, and she's like, "You're an asshole." And he's like, "Yeah, see there, that's your actual voice,"
That's funny.
The whole show kind of starts that way. Like each episode, something like that happens.
What's this on?
And there's some really. It's on Netflix.
Netflix. Okay.
There's like a funny part where like these guys like show like they bought this fancy house in the neighborhood where his church is that he does the meetings, and like they're like, "Oh well, we bought this really expensive house. We've noticed that you guys are throwing your cigarette butts and everything, and yeah, we need you to leave." And he's like, "These are junkies, we're like, I'm trying to help these people," and then he just calls them on their shit just like he always does, and so pisses them off. And it's really funny. Like he calls them on their shit again, and they realize they are being those people, so they apologize and they just bring him an ashtray so they stop throwing cigarettes. And he's like, "Wow, I'm really, really impressed. Like, thank you so much. That's really cool, you guys." And then as he's saying that, like this like fight breaks out behind him of like little people like beating the shit out of like the alcoholics. And like it's like all silly, and it just gets crazier. And he's like, "To be fair, this is rare for us too." Like, it's a really good show.
I'm gonna watch an episode when we log off. That sounds fun.
Again, though, give it a few. The first episode is still good, but it doesn't get like it. You know how shows are.
Yeah. Give it some.
They take a second before they find their feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like it. It's good. Yeah. So that's also Shut Up and Take My Money. A little gem I found on Netflix. You got anything?
No. I just been writing quantum shit.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. That's my life.
All right, well, so yeah, that's 4 Shut Ups and Take Some Monies. Avatar, Aquaman 2, Shut Up. I don't care if you didn't like it. I feel like people already were like, it's like the time I got your daughter to try spinach for the first time. I was like, just start a bite, and then she just did this tiny little bite. Yeah, and it was like she decided ahead of time that she didn't like it, so there was nothing you could do.
Right.
Like you just leave your mind open, have a good time.
Right.
All right. So anyway, Behold Nerds, we should probably jump into that.
Yes. So
Behold Nerds, do you want to do it?
Yeah. So Behold Nerds is our weekly book club where we take turns consuming some type of media thing suggested by one of y'all or us. We take turns. This was recommended by, sorry, what was his name again? Terrible name. Gus.
Real Super Killers.
Real Super Killers. Oppenheimer. It is available on streaming now. I hadn't seen it yet. I saw Barbie movie. I know Frosty hadn't seen it, so this is the first time the two of us...
I was waiting for it to come out free. I think Barbie came out for free first.
So this is a movie that everybody's been saying, oh my god, is the best movie ever. So Frosty, what did you think of Oppenheimer?
People aren't gonna like what
I have a suspicion that you and I feel the same way about this movie. I have a suspicion.
Okay. Here's the thing. I think it was a very good movie.
Yes.
And it was more or less what I expected it to be.
Right.
Based on people's reviews, who the director was, what I saw of the story, and it delivered on all fronts. It was extremely well executed. It was interesting. The acting was flawless. I just care, and it's nothing to do with the quality of it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when I watch TV, I either want like funny,
Mm-hmm.
like a funny drama works for me,
Mm-hmm.
or I want like if it's going to be serious drama, I want it to be dripping with coolness.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I enjoy more of a fictional verse,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's why a lot of these films like this, and even shows like this, like I watched all of Chernobyl and I really enjoyed it, and I
Chernobyl's
enjoyed
really
this
good.
film.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not something I seek out,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not. And if I never watched this film, I don't feel like I would have missed out on anything.
Okay.
And I think people might be like, "Oh, you're crazy," because everybody's gushing over this film. This happens to me a lot,
Right.
and I mean, and again, I don't think that these things are bad. I just think that they're just, and I enjoy them. I just don't like love them.
Right. So I really, 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 really like this movie, but I don't think I liked it really, 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 really as much as everybody else who's gushing about it. I will say
Yeah,
that I loved the score and the scene where they're prepping the bomb to do the test. That
yeah,
score is so good because they incorporated the Geiger counter, the clicking into the
yeah.
actual score. And if you notice that, because I'm listening to it, it's like that's really cool. Like it has a very unique just
That's what I mean. I
sound to
think
it.
the film is well executed. That whole
Right.
scene was you couldn't take your eyes
Right.
off it,
Like
and you're waiting. And
right. That scene I think is what before the explosion. So the scene leading up to the bomb going off,
yeah,
the test, absolutely phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Just again, the score is so good, and it almost reminded me of how if you remember in Winter Soldier, where if you look at the behind the scenes, how they made that movie with the score of that movie, they took a scream and they stretched it out and they incorporated it into the
yeah,
so and it sounded really cool, and they were thinking, wow, how can we do this, like it sounds weird, but it sounded phenomenal. You take that premise, you take something like a Geiger counter, you just work it into the score just very subtly in the back, just it was so good. But okay, okay, I had heard about this, but I kept my mind open, and then I saw it, and it just I, were you underwhelmed by the explosion? Because I was horrendously. I was so underwhelmed by the explosion. It because
no,
it didn't feel like an actual. And I know it wasn't, but it just didn't feel like an actual thing. But here, I'll break this down in
I guess
stages.
I had zero
So
expectations.
all right. So I'll break this down into stages. So you had the moments leading up to the detonation, phenomenal. Then you had the fire, like the actual bomb going off. So they were talking about, oh, you can see a mushroom cloud, 10,000 feet in the sky, and blah 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 blah, and all this, and it just it. Not saying that particular test or that particular experiment was going to be that. Just it didn't feel gravitas enough for the
I
atomic
guess
bomb.
I thought that came from the tension of it, and then we were seeing the explosion
But
through the
then
eyes of the people that were
right,
there.
but then and the moment I thought about it, the movie sucked me back in. It's like, okay, here's this explosion. It's whatever. It's awful quiet. Where's the boom? And then you
Oh,
got
and then
that,
it happened
and then it
afterwards.
happened. So I was like, oh, cool. So that that was my stages of that scene where it's like, okay,
Okay.
this is great. It's like, oh shit, cool, all right. So, but then I'd say the movie shines best post that because you kind of see how that sort of carries with Oppenheimer. When you see him during, being these depositions where you just see him sort of reliving that moment of the testing and he's having to deal with the repercussions of it. So it was I would say the movie's best after the thing explodes.
I
But
enjoyed the whole
I mean,
thing. I
I
just,
did, yeah,
again, I just, it's not that I disliked it. It's not like I don't think it's good. It's just like, I mean, for me, I get more of an emotional high, and I know like people will be like, "You're crazy, and you don't know what you're talking about."
mm,
I can't control what my body feels, you know.
right.
But like the scene with like Cap on your left, and then just everybody
Right.
going through, that was a fucking moment for me sitting there.
Right.
Like my fucking heart swelled, and like I
Right.
was just like, oh god, this is so cool. Like the
Avengers.
thing with
Assemble.
in the recent He-Man revolution, when fucking Adam like grabs Tila and they do that like quadruple transformation,
Right.
and just the animation, and then like, you know, like I was like, oh yes, tears are coming to my. But I'm not gonna get that in anything but what I love,
Right.
because quite frankly, I've been watching He-Man since I was a child,
Right.
and this was the fulfillment of fucking 40 years of TV. You
I
know,
mean,
like,
I think this is just more of like a character piece on the human who is Oppenheimer.
no, and I
Um,
get why people love it. I'm just saying. So this is where the controversy things can come in, because our rating scale is shut up and take my money. You got to do what you got to do, and Death by Snooze Snoo.
mm,
For me, it's a you got to do what you got to do, and I think that's because our scale is based on entertainment and how much we love stuff.
mm,
I can't rate it a shut up and take my money, because I never felt that. You know, I never felt like, oh my god, I have to have more of this.
okay.
Um, where it was like, fine, this was good, I enjoyed it. I'll put that away now, and I'm never gonna watch that film again unless like
Right. Yeah.
I'm sat down and someone's like, you know, puts it on. But I happily watch Pacific Rim 100 times, you know. So that's why it's you got to do what you got to do for me. I enjoyed it. That's not an insult on the film anyway. It's just based on, in terms of quality, I think it's a shut up and take my money. But in terms of just raw entertainment, that's for me. That's just where it lands.
So I grade it differently than you do a little bit. So I am going to give it a shut up and take my money, but I'm never going to rewatch this again, and I'm okay with that. If anything, I will just go onto YouTube and pull up that one scene with the music, and like I have that forever now because it's just a fantastic moment. So was I ever bored? No. I think the cast was fantastic. Robert Downey Jr. is phenomenal in this movie. But
Everybody was
no,
excellent.
everybody was great. But I'm never
I've
gonna.
learned stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would be. Would I recommend it to somebody? Yes.
Where
But
I would
would I would I
love to
would I
watch
rec-
this
would I
movie,
would I recommend it to anybody? No. But I
where I
recommend this
would
movie.
love to watch this movie is if I was a kid in history class, and they're like,
Yeah.
"We're gonna put on this movie, and then you're gonna write a report about it." Fuck yes, I will. That's like my dream, because you just sit in class and watch a movie,
Right.
and then they ask you your opinion. I do that anyway. Like, can you imagine back then, like little Frosty? So I rate this a shut up. I mean, you got to do what you
Dude's
got
got
to
to
do.
do.
You know, like,
So I am going to give it a shut up and take my money.
yeah.
But you know, I agree with you. I'm not going to watch this movie ever again. There was a lot of good things about this movie. I just didn't live up to that hype. I guess I enjoyed Barbie. I had more fun with Barbie than I
That
did
was
with
more
Oven.
fun.
It's a different type of movie, but you know that's where my plinko puck sort of plopped in. Was Barbie movie. This was still a great movie. I don't want to undersell it. It's still a shut up and take my money. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it. It's worth watching at least once. Christopher Nolan is he knows what he's doing.
I agree.
It's
I
very
have no
Nolan-y,
fault in this movie. I think it's a good movie.
and
I
how
think,
he tells it's nothing new. He tells the story through the you
and
know
like, look, compared to something I rated earlier, Aquaman, like, this is a much better movie than Aquaman. Just to be clear, it's just
it doesn't
I'm
resonate with you.
I had more fun with Aquaman, even though that's the inferior movie,
Right.
because I just did. Like I was, oh fucking, it's Java's palace, but underwater. Oh look at that, they're like stupid looking. I was just loving it, you know.
Right.
Like, but yeah, and then Black Manta. Oh god, he was actually scary in this
Black Manta's
film.
always creeped me out. He just looks creepy with that weird fucking Stewie helmet with the big fucking red thing. It's just creepy. Is it my turn or whose turn is it?
Yeah, it's your turn.
God. Hold on. Let me see really quick where it's on. We are.
We are VR troopers.
Oh my god, I was listening to that the other day.
Troopers.
Virtual reality troopers. 3, go. Virtual reality.
I was just a little
3,
old for
2,
that,
1.
I'm
We
still aware
are.
of it.
All right, we are watching a dumb movie,
Oh, okay.
but hold on, let me see where it's on.
Airplane. What can you make of this? I can make a hat. I can make a pterodactyl. That would be a fun movie to revisit sometime.
So it is available for rental. Stupid movie. So back in the day, I'm a big Jim Carrey fan, but little do y'all know Jim Carrey's really good friend was Steve Odenkirk. Creator of Jimmy Neutron and got a really bizarre TV special back in the 90s that my uncle and I would just watch constantly. It was just the funniest thing. The Hollywood blockbuster Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I know. I love Kung Pao. I've seen that movie several times. I'm very aware of it.
Cool.
I remember renting it with my friends.
That's a lot of nuts.
Yeah, we were in college or something, and then we were watching the part where the baby starts,
Yeah.
and then it finally comes to rescue fix it. There you go, and it just goes on for so long, and this baby rolling down. It's so much longer than it should be, and so you just can't help but just laugh your ass off at it. I remember watching it with my girlfriend at the time. She's like, "This is really fucked up, you guys," and we're just dying.
So, tune in next week where we will be giving our reviews on Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
I need gopher chucks. And the other guy, the bad guy's like,
just because I saw a Nostalgia Critic did a review on it the other day, and it's like, God, I think I've only seen this movie once, and never again, and I don't remember enough about it. So.
Our friend Dan does not enjoy this movie.
Really?
He believes because I thought it was hilarious. I have a bad taste in comedy. Comedy is subjective, my friend. And this movie, you have to watch it in the right mindset. I totally accept that. It's not, but it's in the right mindset. This movie.
Well, you know what? Guess what? I'm going to convince this human to do tomorrow. I'm going to convince him to come over. We're going to watch this. See, you know what? One of my favorite movies ever is still Half Baked. It is the funny. I quoted it yesterday with one of my regulars who tipped me a 20. But with Mrs. Cap, she loves Grandma's Boy.
Grandma's Boy is the classic. I'm way too stoned to drive to the devil's house with you. And they're like, monkey. I mean, it's stupid, but it's great.
There's a certain level of stupid humor done right is perfect. I think the right amount of stupid humor requires just a hair of thought.
Your bed is a car. It's a super sweet car. I was thinking about getting a CB radio so I could talk to other car beds. Yeah, I posted a while back when there's these really awesome Batmobile beds that just look insane, made by like crazy good artists. I posted it in a group chat, and I was like, "But it's a super sweet car." because like if you look these up sometime. The
Mm.
other thing, do you remember I posted these as well? The superhero toilets.
Oh God, I don't think I saw that one.
Oh
I
man, I
don't.
got a similar to
Here,
this.
send me the
It's
link again.
crazy. It's like Hulk. He's like, "Brah!" Like, and he's just like the actual toilet.
Oh no, no,
It's,
no! I saw that. Yeah, I saw that one.
yeah,
He's just attaching. He's affixed to the toilet.
yeah, and like Thor, you just sat in Thor's lap.
Oh,
They're so funny.
um,
I always say if I had the money, I would have one of each of those toilets. I would have the Batmobile bed. Like I do not give a shit.
right.
Like if I like won the lotto, people would know. You know. Like,
You wouldn't say it out loud. There'd be ways of showing the world. So, quick thought. Did you hear about this? It's God. It's like the new fire festival in Scotland. There's this Willy Wonka exhibit that was supposed to like this pop-up event that was supposed to take place, and it was like $45 a head for tickets, and it was promised a magical romp through an enchanted candy forest, and you can walk through the tunnel
I
of
didn't hear
horror.
about this at all.
So people showed up, and there were some benches in a warehouse, and there was some actors there who looked confused. It's you should look into it. It's like a version of Fire Festival in a sense, where if you look at the website, and it begs the question because people went to this website and you see all this clearly AI generated art, still pretty, but still AI generated, and even the website itself, the language, like the descriptions and everything was all AI generated, didn't make sense, but people still bought tickets, so some red flags there, but. People showed up. Now you're expecting Willy Wonka. There's going to be some chocolate, right? There's no chocolate, but the character actors, they were allowed to give out exactly one jelly bean to guests, and guests can help themselves to a Dixie cup full of lemonade. It was so bad that, and again, this is in Scotland, and I'm not sure what the laws are over there, but people got angry and actually called the cops. He's like, hey, we're showing up. We were promised this magical event. We're showing up. There's like just black tarp just covering things and just one rainbow arch and just props kind of scattered about. Now, I think they could have gotten it to work after surveying everything had they just condensed it. It's like when you take too little and try to spread it out. No, just inhale, bring it all in. Condense what you have, just work with what you got. It was just disappointing. It's think Fire Festival, but with Willy Wonka. Yeah.
I'll look it up. That sounds interesting. Does it cost like way too much money?
No, so I mean, to find too much money, like 40 something.
Well, the Fire Festival was like all rich kids that were spending thousands of dollars.
Right. A bunch of online influencers.
And that's why it was funny because it was like all these rich kids, like, oh, it's like the Hunger Games, and it's like, why? Because you're like sat on a beach for a while and you're hungry for a couple of days,
right?
Like, like. Anyway, but I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So, fuck. I should have written. My thought is not. I did a shorthand note, and it's not enough for.
What's the shorthand? Let me see if I can speak Frosty.
No, because it's gonna throw you off.
No, it's.
Yes, it is because I'm reading it and I'm like, why did I write that?
Okay.
The Superman comparison, but I can't remember what I was comparing. It was definitely not
Superman comparison, so probably Hyperion or Sentry.
No. It was good. That's what I'm saying. It was something it had to do with Batman and everything, but it was some kind of discussion I had on Twitter. But okay, here we go. Predator versus Terminator. That was a conversation I had with someone that now follows us.
Okay.
Who do you give it to?
So I saw this. I did see your something about the endoskeleton of the Terminator being able to resist the Predator or something, and the guy and then the guy conceded that yep, I got no argument, you win.
Well, no. So I said our original thing was it was like which one could win, and I was like, well, it's clearly the Predator. They've got more advanced weaponry. And then he was like, what do they got? The little shoulder cannon that can't hit people covered in mud
Mm.
and claws. And I was like, well, actually, and I'm like, and I'm like, yeah, they hunt what they're hunting. They change their weapon out.
Right.
Like they have giant shoulder cannons and stuff. Like not those little things, but
They
they have
they
like
they
big,
intentionally scale themselves down to their target level, so
yeah,
they don't. Yeah.
like and like they change up their gear, and then he was like, well, I'm talking the Predator from the first movie versus the Terminator, and I was
It
like,
wouldn't
well,
use the
now
same. It wouldn't use the same gear, I guess.
you've narrowed the field by like restricting, like it's a Predator that's hunting commandos,
Right.
not Terminators.
Right.
So you've given yourself an edge. And then I was like, but even then, like that shoulder cannon,
Right.
they have like a more powerful setting, and like the Terminator is going to have a heat signature. And Terminator in the first movie was blown up by a pipe bomb.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm like, that shoulder cannon, if he turns it all the way, that was on its lowest setting.
Yeah.
It was blowing dudes' heads up. On its highest setting, it punches holes in starships.
Right.
So like it's they could turn that up, and if we're talking one Terminator,
It's like Cyclops. Like
yeah, it's just gonna be like boom, and then the Terminator's gone.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, maybe the T-1000, but could that even withstand it? Because it would just vaporize.
Melt it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or vaporize it.
the T-1000 has the best opportunity. But then even then, like if we're allowing them to use other things, I think they would fight against each other. Then he was talking about, well, the Terminator in Terminator 3 took a shot from that TX thing, and I was like, yeah, but that's because it had a titanium alloy,
right,
which could withstand that. I'm like, but we're talking punching holes in starships, like, so I'm pretty sure that would cut through. He's like, yeah, you know your stuff. Like, it's two specific universes I happen to know a lot about.
Right, right.
So,
besides, Terminators they're not as, at least the T-800, they don't seem as dexterous, I guess, as like a Predator.
maybe. I mean, it's just I'm looking at like a pipe bomb blew one up to the point where it was like crawling, and like that's just not that tough.
See, of the Predator, I like their little vibrating, like little Xena disc.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, like slicer. It's almost like vibranium in Star Wars, kind of. So it's kind of.
Yeah, I think that could also, if we allow them that, and then they also have like a assault rifle.
Yeah.
Works independent of the shoulder cannon. So the shoulder cannon can just be like, yeah, bad guy, bad guy, and then while they're going, I mean, it's just you don't really see those much because, like, that's like I'm going to war kind of.
Right. You're not hunting. You're going to war.
Yeah, and so you don't see it that much, but they have all that.
Right.
I don't know what they would determine. Okay, that's a better question. What do you think a Predator would use to fight a Terminator?
Oh, easy. God, just that vibrating disc thing that just it'll cut right through them. Easy.
No, I know, but like, what loadout do you think one would use?
Oh, loadout. All right.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you. God, shoulder cannon, given.
Okay. The plasma caster. Yeah, that's what that's called.
Plasma caster. Some type of assault gun and something. The disc. I like the Xena disc. And would they use the claws up close or just go with the staff? I like the staffs, but they can have both because they're.
I think the claws they just would probably.
They just have them.
Yeah, I imagine. Well, could a Terminator break out of the net? I don't know.
See, would the net be able to cut through the the flesh, obviously, but not the.
But it could hold it down.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it could break it out. I don't know if it would cut through the flesh part.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think like minimum what it would need.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. It would have a plasma caster on whatever settings appropriate.
I guess with the net, it depends on how much leverage the Terminator has. Like enough leverage, you can probably wiggle something free. But if it's like a good,
yeah. Well, okay. So what I'm saying is like, what would be balanced? Plasma caster. I imagine it just has the claws.
Yeah.
Now,
do you think a Predator would be able to punch his claws through a Terminator's skull?
Base Terminator, probably.
Yeah.
But I don't really see it really being a melee battle so much.
No, yeah, I'm
Um,
just saying
so
you have to factor in case it comes close, because the predator has to be prepared.
yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah, but that's
prepared.
what I mean. He's got claw. Okay, here's what I think: claws, sword,
Mm.
plasma caster, um, disc, and just because the disc is cool.
This is cool.
um,
This is cool.
but then pistol,
Okay.
because they have a pistol with like a smaller version of the shoulder thing.
Yeah.
So again, if they needed to, like, all of a sudden they get surrounded by terror, and then it's all in there, like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So that's if they get into shit.
Mm.
Other than that, they're like, but yeah, you got to keep it balanced. The question is like, because I don't know if you know, like, in order to get the better gear,
Mm.
they have to like start low, and then they have to like, it's like you have to
Yeah,
level up.
the progress. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like,
But see, that's cool though. That's super cool.
yeah.
It's cool that they have like a system, like an honor system. Anyways,
I wish I could remember what I was talking about with the Superman comparison. I don't know, I'll try and remember later.
it'll come to you.
Um,
We should probably end it soon. I need to
no,
go.
you know what was funny? Actually, real fast before we go, funny story. So years ago, I got rid of my CDs because I realized I didn't even have a way to play them anymore. I really wish I didn't know, because like I had some great albums and some like obscure stuff, and now I can't remember it all,
Oh,
and it sucks because I had like this really great list of metal, and that I used to like. It was like all different times, the '90s. You sort of like
yeah.
read magazines, and then look up and you'd hear little sound clips online,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'd be like, "Oh, that sounds cool." And then like, because it was metal and it was like obscure, you had to like special order it and stuff like that
Right.
from like things, and
From
you
like
get import.
Fangora magazine.
Yeah, there was something fun about that era though, because you had to do that. I
Right.
mean, it's better now because you could just like Amazon,
Right.
like, or you don't even need that for music anymore. You just like play this, and it's like no problem.
Right.
But anyway, but I've been trying to remember. There was this really awesome metal band I used to listen to, and I was like, what are they called? And I've been trying to remember this for years. Anyway, I'm riding in the car
Mm-hmm.
back from San Francisco after my appointment, to get like a stent taken out of me. So I just had surgery and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Dawn of Relic. Like, and it just like popped into my brain. By the way, if the nurse is watching, I'm sorry I flirted with you. That's not cool at work. I was really like, and she was like, no, it's fine. I had not woken up from the stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
I started talking to this nurse, and she was just, apparently I was like, you're very pretty. And she was like, thank you. And then I kind of remembered it once I came out of it. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like,
I'm sure she's seen it. Your brain
she
isn't
didn't
on.
care.
Yeah, your
She
brain's
was like,
working.
you have no idea the crazy stuff we hear. Like, and I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, like, and people say the weirdest stuff. And like, I was like, oh, okay, that makes me feel better.
We should probably wrap it. I need to go get ready for Dune Part 2. I'm going to get my popcorn bucket. I can't wait. It looks like a worm. Have you seen the popcorn buckets? It looks like,
I know. They look like they would hurt your hand.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope they do. I hope you guys are like, wow, these are so.
Ow!
I imagine they don't, because that's the first thing you'd have to solve with that.
Right. Have to
But
pass
it would just
the
it would
FDA.
just be so funny if that was what it was. Like, like, because it looks like you put it in and the plastic would
And it
dig
just
into
shreds your flesh on the way
yeah,
up.
like putting your finger through a straw,
Yeah.
for the plastic things on the thing.
Right.
And you'd be like, ow. Like, you could do it, but like it's gonna hurt.
Right. It's going to leave a mark. Now, see, had this been made 30 years ago, it would have been that. But anyways, thanks for watching. Tune in next week. What is it? Who's fighting again? Battle Cat versus Thanos. We're watching Kung Pao the Fist. I'll try to check out some stuff. I'll let you know if Dune really lives up to its legacy of not being woke. And Frosty will tell us that sweet joke. Yeah. Want to end the show with a sweet nerdy quote? Yeah.
Okay. Watching John with the machine, it was suddenly so clear. The Terminator would never stop. It would never leave him, and it would never hurt him, never shout at him, or get drunk and hit him, or say it was too busy to spend time with him. It would always be there, and it would die to protect him. Of all the would-be fathers who came and went over the years, this thing, this machine, was the only one who measured up. In an insane world, it was the thinnest choice.